Hello, I'm James, and I'm an old guy in Europe. And welcome to this very special 25th episode of An Old Guy in Europe. Today, I'd like to share with you a sample of each episode that I've made so far, numbers 1 through 24, on the occasion of 25 videos. Now, this may not seem like a lot to some folks. It might seem like a lot to others. But for me, starting from never having made a video before in my life to the inaugural Old Guy in Europe, I'd like to take a moment to celebrate that. And I really appreciate you joining me for this minor celebration. I'd like to start by thanking each and every one of you, whether you have followed me from the very first episode to now or are just tuning in for the first time today, for your support. It means everything to me. I started this channel with the idea that I wanted to be of some value to folks, whether it be information about immigrating to Portugal or living here or life in general, or however I might offer value of entertainment, humor, fun, whatever it might be for you. So for those of you who are deriving that, it brings me a great deal of joy to know that I'm able to share this with you. I want to especially thank Carl Munson and his Good Morning Portugal show for so much of the material that I use, the content that I use for this channel. And my two very special friends, Hank and Connie, who live up in Vila Nova de Gaia, who have given me tons of encouragement and support for doing this all the way through from concept to actual production. I've had a great time doing it and hope to continue doing it for a very long time. I'd also like to take this opportunity to say that if you're enjoying these episodes, please do hit the like button. Additionally, if you think there's someone you know who might get value from something that I have said on a given episode, be sure to share the link with them. And if you want to make sure you get reminders every time a new episode comes out, please become a subscriber. And I always enjoy hearing from you, so please feel free to leave a comment below and let me know whatever's on your mind, or if you have any questions for me or any ideas about things I could address in future episodes. Whatever you think is relevant or would just like me to know. I always appreciate hearing from you. In the meantime, for this special episode 25, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of An Old Guy in Europe. I mentioned in episode 1 that I would be bringing you my first interview on Good Morning Portugal for this episode, but I've decided to change things up just a bit, and rather than that, bring you this week's spot on Good Morning Portugal. But don't worry, I'll bring that interview for episode 3. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week on episode 3.
And you, James, with your new moniker, Old Guy in Europe, which is a bit of a clue and connected entirely to the promo trailer teaser I've just played. What's going on?
Well, that particular thing, I'm pretty excited about it because it's 3 years since original concept. Like I was still in California, and I was looking for sort of virtual tours, video tours, because it was COVID, and I was trying to get a boots on the ground experience without being able to come here. And so I started looking through YouTube saying, oh, surely there's someone who's walking through the towns, pointing out, historical landmarks, and like a walking tour, only virtually. And I struggled to find anything like that. There was lots of stuff about places, lots of beautiful drone footage with nice music, and lots of people talking through the whole. I saw one person walking, but they were just constantly, it was subtitled. So they weren't talking, but in order to know what was going on, I had to read, so I couldn't see the visuals. And I go, no, I want to be able to hear it, but I want to be able to enjoy it. Anyway, I just couldn't find something like that, and it's probably on there. But so I thought, well, maybe that's something you can do when you get there. And then the idea kept fermenting over time, and it just really, it's like, well, I don't want to become a European tour guide for English-speaking people. That's not what my goal is. What is my goal? And it's like, I want to share my experience of being in Europe. I want to share my experience of Portugal with people. So it developed from there. And then Hank, my good friend Hank Stalika, virtually every time we got together and talked, you got to know Hank to understand it. You go, damn, man, that's just so profound. It's like every time we get together, you say something that just like wakes me up and changes my life. He says, you really got to do that YouTube channel. That's his energy behind it. And it really, because of his enthusiasm and his encouragement, that it actually came to fruition in something less than 3 more years. I've been working on it for about a year now, trying to figure out what I want to do. I don't want to get loaded down with new content every week and have it becoming then a YouTube, producer. It's like, no, I just want to share what's up. And that's so for you in Good Morning Portugal, I've got 110 or 11 episodes of content that I can use. So I don't have to create it every week. That was the hard part about the first video. It was an introduction. It was all created content. It was only 8 minutes. It took me like 16 hours to put it together. So it's like, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm still very excited about it. I'm really happy with the result. But
you could quickly become resentful with a workload of that kind, couldn't you?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's the highlights. It's the highlights from the shows, is it?
What I did, I found a fairly easy way to edit, and I'm learning. I mean, part of the reason it took me so long to do this first episode is I've never done this before. I've never made a movie digitally. So it's taking what I know about the aesthetics and the timing of multimedia presentation from my old, Navy experience of doing the analog version of that, and then transferring all that into digital skills, which I have had 0 of. So I'm hoping that the time will speed up. But the one thing was, I knew how to edit an existing video by trimming it. I knew how to take the ends off. That was kind of the easy part. And so what I did is I just selected out the segments that I am in, like right now on Good Morning Portugal. So it runs anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, depending on how long I'm on the screen. And then I'm hoping to also incorporate, like I went to Dublin with Hank and Connie, and I want to share that experience, not so much as a tour video, but just sharing the experience of going to Dublin, the kinds of things that happen when you leave the country, that kind of thing. I and my intention is that it's useful and people find value in it. I'm not trying to make any money off it. You know, I'd be surprised if I got 2,000 subscribers. It would be fun, but for me, the fun would be that I'm reaching that many people. That many people are getting value out of it, not because I'm going to make 10 cents a month off of my subscriptions. So,
You've obviously looked into that.
well, I've heard about it. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it, and be curious. I'm always curious to see. There's always, chemical hit when someone likes something or who someone
Oh
subscribes.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I was surprised to see I already have 3 subscribers, and all I've
Let's
got
see.
is a trailer.
Let's see if we can get you a few more. Well, there it is, the Barcelo cockerel heralding the arrival of James Holly, who's joining me originally from California, and we have the pictures to prove it, I think, a little bit later on, but originally from California, now living in wonderful Ericeira, and beautiful pictures from there as well, and video, James, so thank you very much for sending me that in advance. Look, James, I have a request of you.
Yes.
We've looked at 2 of your pictures, or 1 picture and 1 video. There are loads more. There are loads more comments. Would you come back next Thursday? So I don't want to rush this. We've got 5 minutes left of the show. And I don't want to rush this. Would you be happy to come back again? And because you are part of this community, as well as having this story to tell.
I would love to. What do I want to say? There was a little bit of nerves coming in, and you've done a marvelous job of helping me just feel very, very relaxed, which I trusted. So thank you for that. And I just am amazed because I feel like I'm brand new. Like, why should I be on this show? I'm brand new. But as you have so pointed out, I've got an experience that could be beneficial to, well, pretty much anyone who wants to come, but especially Americans, and more particularly West Coast California Americans. So,
yes,
absolutely, I would love to come back.
I've never seen so many comments in the thread, the comment thread, including Gumput cars. We're learning about Gumput cars. Wonderful show. So we'll have a second go at this on Thursday, or the continuation thereof. And James, I'll wish you a great day, and we'll do this again next Thursday.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, community. I love being in front of you. I love being with you. Yes.
Look at that. Deagle says, love James' view on life. Positively flows from him. Fantastic fella. Cheers, mate. Bye for now. Or should I say, ate prossima. There he goes. He was too interesting last week, so we had to do part 2. James Holly is here, everybody. How are you this morning, James?
Hi, everyone. Yes, every once in a while I have to remind myself, I'm not on vacation. I'm not leaving. Right? There's just that feeling like, oh, I got to get it all in. I only got 2 weeks, and no, I got as long as I want. So thanks for the reminder.
Okay.
I haven't come back as much as folks want to have me.
Oh, that's super. I was so glad to hear that. It was a bit of an exercise in personal growth, us working together, I think it's fair to say, James. Me with my kind of gung-ho, let's just put a picture up and talk about it. and you like, that's my presentation. That's my carefully thought out presentation that Munster's riding roughshod over my visuals. So I have disciplined myself. I think you'll be glad to. If I'm reporting back to you, with lying down and you're saying, how has your week been? My week has been one of my therapist where I have been a little bit more self-disciplined and learned some of the value of that.
And I'm learning to let go. So
we've been great coaches for each other then, perhaps.
Absolutely. Reflection for one another, yes.
There we go. Okay, so is it okay to begin then with
Absolutely.
the surface stature? Well, this guy's the one, right? Well, you're going to lead us today. I'm going to sort of sit back a little bit as you lead us through these lovely images that you very carefully shared.
We'll start with the images then. That's great. So last week we were talking about that Santa Cruz was my number one first thought when I thought, where in the world would I be if I could just be wherever I wanted?
And I love that picture. I really do. You are a fabulous part of this community. And I'm glad to say, it's a win-win. It would appear it's been useful to you, and we have been blessed
Absolutely.
by your presence on these two occasions and your ongoing enthusiasm for what we do. So thank you for that, James. And yeah, we move on and we move forward to the to having the discussion about. That's a lovely place to leave it for today, James. Thanks again. We will go out with a theme tune we all have grown to know and love. Right, this is part of our the Gumper lifestyle. And you're actually, we didn't even mention banana slugs this morning. You're really instrumental in that. The banana slug thing.
Represent.
And this is where it began. In case you're wondering, we had this. We went to the. I was talking to Mrs. M yesterday. This is Dr. Bayard's factory where they make the lozenges, and I was thinking I must send them the strapline "Suck on a Doctor" in the morning, which I think would really help them in their efforts to.
They'll take it up as part of their marketing program.
So how about that, Dr. Bayards? That should ensure me a lifetime supply as well. And James compared and contrasted that big old lozenge being massaged by that strong-looking lady there to the banana slug, which is he has a fondness for and a connection to back in California.
Which looks tiny compared to the other one, but it's actually a very large slug.
Pathetic. Man up.
You slug, you.
That's right. This is what you should be aspiring to.
There you go.
There you go. That's a real slug for you. And so there's that bit, the banana slug, and of course you're integral in the Gumper conversation. But it seems to be sticking, doesn't it? We do seem to be the Gumper. Yeah. So there you go. Thanks, James. Thanks for all of that, and we look forward to seeing you soon, my friend. Have a great day. Have a great day, everybody. Ciao for now. You are here this morning because we had a little chat, didn't we? I see you as our sort of resident pastoral, caring, empathic, good guy who is a stand for our happiness and well-being and peace of mind here in the Gumper community. And I thought, well, let's get James on a Monday morning and see what he's been thinking, see what no pressure or anything, but what words of wisdom do you have for us? James, fantastic. Thank you so much. Already looking forward to talking with you again next Monday with your next message from the Redwoods. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
This is a place, and I don't want to steal your thunder here, and it may well be what you make reference to. But this is a big thing. This is a big thing when you're trying to control your move to be here, which many people do, and you have to do certain things to arrive in the country. But it is certainly a part. There are parts of it you can't control. Quite a lot of it, in many ways, you can make the moves, and then you're in the hands of other people for quite a lot of the time. And then it could be said you're in the hands of an entire culture upon arrival. So any ideas or insecurities or difficulties, challenges people have around control will certainly come to the fore in this journey. Is that where you were going with it?
Yes, and what I've realized about so many what I call universal truths is they really are quite simple. They're very straightforward. The concept, the idea is like one. The primary example I use is love. It's like love is very simple, but it may be the most difficult thing we attempt to implement in our life. So it's simple and difficult. And some complex things may actually be easy, particularly if you're an engineer and you're familiar with that complex thing. So it's simple and easy don't go together. And the concept of control, as I've come to understand it, is very simple. And the simple bottom line on control, as I have seen it, is the only thing that we as human beings control is our own thoughts, our own words, our own actions, period. It's that simple. Today, I'm going to take us on a walk through my lovely hometown of Ericeira, Portugal. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
The man who is synonymous with the banana slug, of course. If not for you, James, I don't think the banana slug franchise would have gone on as long as it has. And every time I see a Bayard's lozenge, I think of you.
Me too. Every time I see Bayards, I think of that photo of the woman wrestling that giant slab of taffy-like candy.
Yes,
that looks like a slug.
I don't think we've got her picture anymore. What? Oh, yes, here we. Just in case you're wondering, that's the one, isn't it? You're talking.
That's the one.
Bless her. Bless her.
Hello, and welcome to episode 10 of An Old Guy in Europe. Hey, did you know that if you subscribe, you can get automatic notices from YouTube every time an episode of An Old Guy in Europe is published? When I speak of emotions, try to stay away from referring to them as negative or positive emotions, because to me, there's a quality of judgment like good or bad. And for me, all emotions are good it's good to have all our emotions, not to like try to not have them. Well, do you want to stay in this place or do you want to make a different choice? I think I'll choose something else. Okay, what would that be? I think I'd rather be at peace. So how do I get there? For me, it's always with gratitude. So if I'm upset about something, I'm complaining about something, I'm standing in a long queue when I had an appointment and they're having a social conversation and taking my time.
I'm annoyed just hearing that.
Yeah. So I can choose to be annoyed and stand there frustrated and arrive angry and upset, or if I'm aware that I'm complaining, I can choose something else. So if I'm choosing to be at peace, it's like, well, what am I grateful for? First thing in my mind in this process is I'm grateful I'm in Portugal. I'm grateful I got here. I'm grateful my D7 was approved and then I had my residency card approved and I'm here. I'm grateful that this is the last piece of administration I have to do for the next 2 years. So find the things I'm grateful for in that very moment about the things I'm upset about. And immediately the list of gratitude exponentially grows and my state becomes more and more and more peaceful.
Wow. What James is saying has hit me right between the ears. Be with you in just a moment, Gilda. Would like to learn more. Thank you so much for this. Have a great day, week. And the Good Morning Portugal is so much more than info for expats about Portugal. Oh, yeah, we do talk about expats in Portugal, don't we, from time to time as well? And we're talking about visas and migration for the next hour. Don't worry about that. It is a spiritual healing community both as well. And how much better than that hat could it get? Well, I think even your hat is getting some glory this morning. And I definitely will watch the replay of this video so I could focus on James's wise words.
So here we are in the middle of August, the height of the high season. This is where we left off last time.
I was very inspired by the quote from the video that you have shared a few times regarding the revolution, because the thirst for freedom overcame all fears. Yeah, and I was really, me too. And I think a lot of people did. I'm noticing in comments that, it seems to really resonate with us. And I looked at where does that resonate within me? And it was right in the same place as when I think about love. And I said, okay, well, maybe I'll think a little bit on love and revolution and how those things may come together. So that's what stimulated the thought. I talk about the energy of love or the feeling of love versus the energy or feeling of fear. Mm-hmm. And to me, love is the energy of love is expansive, free, generous. It's inclusive and welcoming. It's courageous and it's unconditional. There's a sense of expansion with the feeling of love. Whereas fear is the opposite again. It is restrictive, constraining, binding. It's selfish and exclusive and rejecting and even cowardly. So in every adjective I use for love, the opposite adjective for fear seems to apply in virtually every case that I've applied it since. That brings me full circle to this whole phrase, the quote from the video, because the thirst for freedom overcame all fears. I realized I could just replace freedom with love. And there it was, because the thirst for love overcame all fears.
Oh,
I think
my word.
that's what love does. And
Yes.
so I said, oh, so a revolution, almost of any kind, but particularly this one of the only mostly peaceful revolutions that we are aware of. The feeling of it really is one of love. And I think that's part of why that phrase resonates so deeply with us, because the freedom and love are tied together, and we feel it in the same place when we hear that quote. Yes. So that was my little mental process this morning.
Thank you, James.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of An Old Guy in Europe. In this episode, I share my appearance as a featured guest on Good Morning Portugal on August 19th, 2024, in which I talk a little bit about some of the behind the scenes of the making of An Old Guy in Europe, episode 11. That was part 2 of my walk through Ericeira. I also talk about some of the challenges of navigating the bus system and some Portuguese vegetable vocabulary. So please just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello, and welcome to another episode of An Old Guy in Europe. Today, I joined Carl Munson live from Dublin, Ireland, on the Good Morning Portugal show on September 23rd, 2023. And I share some of my experiences in Dublin up to that point, from customs arrival, busing to downtown, missing a tour, finding pubs, and of course, my first Irish Guinness. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Because he's waiting, let's play his music, and we'll see him after this.
Bom dia!
Good morning, hola, bom dia, alegria, tudo bem?
Sim, sim, muito. E
Where
tu?
are you, James? Come on, let's get on with it. Where is Not a Cowboy Hat, and where are you?
Well, did you queue up my my visual dad joke for the day?
Of course I did. You only have to ask.
Show it on the screen and then take a guess.
Okay, let's have a look. I read the capital of Ireland's population is growing extremely fast.
That's true. It's Dublin.
You're not in Dublin.
I am.
Are you really?
And I have the tourist merchandise to show it, to prove it.
Can you pack an idiot?
And I don't want to show the inside of the cup. I actually had my coffee in it, so it looks a little dirty, but that little circle says original feckin' Egypt. So.
That is superb. What a lovely surprise. And thank you so much for still joining us while you're there on your holiday.
And I will say, I guarantee you that if that door behind me opens up, you're going to see a Connie or a Hank.
Oh, okay. A rare spotting. There's no way we're going to see Hank this early in the morning.
No, I would doubt that. And I don't think Connie knows I'm doing this. And I hadn't figured out last night yet exactly where, which spot. So I told her if she wanted to pop her head in and say hi or sit down with us, she was welcome to. And she kind of went, "Oh,
there she is!
Wait,
hey!
There's a Connie! Hey, Connie, welcome."
You guys have to stay there and do your own TV show where everybody waits for Connie to appear and waves through the door. How
there you go.
That is fantastic. So tell us about this trip then. I mean, is this the extension of being in Portugal when we're in Europe? At some point we're going to go to Ireland, and here it is. You're doing it. thank you so much for broadcasting live from Ireland. And here you are back in the familiar surroundings, unless it is a carefully crafted green screen of your room.
No, no. And it's funny, as I was coming on this morning, it's like, was that only a week ago?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Wow. I mean, the trip just seems like months. Really had quite, in addition to just the fun of going places and seeing things and all the rest of that, I was noticing, and it was almost, and this phrase just went through my head, forced mindfulness. It's like the thoughts were passing so strongly that I was noticing things that I hadn't really known about me in my process in Portugal. And I thought it could be somewhat informative to maybe anybody who is making a substantial change. In this episode, it's more my intention to share my photo album as if we were sitting on my sofa and I was sharing with you the photo and or video album I have of the trip.
Woke up to another beautiful day in Ireland and went out to catch our bus to... We take freedom away from ourselves by framing it like we're obligated to it. We don't have a choice. When we don't have a choice, we're not free. And everything is a choice. How we feel, how we react, what we say, how we behave, everything is a choice. Now, I will concede that sometimes circumstances present in our lives, and we can argue whether we created that or not. I'll opt to not choose that right now because, you know, sometimes we are victims of violence or a family that treats us poorly and, you know, those kinds of things. I didn't have a choice in that. So I won't go into the spiritual end of whether you did or not, but if we're going to assume, well, yeah, you did not have a choice in that, but you do have a choice how you respond to it, how you react to what happens to you. And that's a big part of my therapeutic approach is when we're looking at people who experience trauma in their lives, it's like the freedom you have is to choose differently now. You're not in it now. So how do you choose to be in your life now? And when we can come there, bring it to the present, then there's power. I can choose my reaction. When you said it's exhausting, it reminded me of a conversation I was having with my mother years ago, sharing with her my thought processes, which you might perceive are pretty exhausting in and of themselves. But the notion of self-awareness and doing the work, being conscious and making choices, as she just leaned back and in her own sort of, I don't know, Buddha way, she said, phew, that just sounds like a lot of work.
And she's right, of course.
And I said, yep.
Lit bright, I see. So let me see if I pull myself out of it, if I can actually show you what's in that window.
Oh, Espino, hello to you. Oh, that's beautiful, James.
And that building right there is the Espino Casino.
And so you're one of your famous gambling weekends where you lose everything and then build it all back up again.
That's right. Making my millions doing this show.
Rock and roll.
Hello, I'm James, and I'm an old guy in Europe. Hello, and welcome to another episode of An Old Guy in Europe. In this episode, I share some photos and videos of my experience from several visits to Espinho, Portugal. So, as always, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. I have now visited Espinho 4 times in my 3 years here in Portugal, all of which have been in the last year and a half.
So tell us then, how's this? To give us the backstory for those who don't know, you're thinking of moving from beautiful Ericeira, the California of Portugal,
Well,
to
yeah, in truth, I spent about a year thinking about it
yeah,
and doing what I do, breaking it down like the same. It was the same process as coming to Portugal. You know, I spent a year of just kind of exploring what options there were and what's on the map and what's suitable for what I want, and you know, do I really want to leave where I'm at, and you know, all those same questions, only it's local.
yeah.
So it took me about a year to make the decision, and the decision was, yeah, I'm going to make this move to Espino, give that a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is that my idea coming over was that I would be in a position for the first time in my life to live exactly the way I wanted to live, which was, you know, in terms of location and cost and uh, the vibe and all the pieces that come together going, yeah, this is the life I want to be living. That's what I was up to when I was in the process of ultimately making the decision to come to Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
So again, very similar process now is I came to Portugal with the idea that I would be walking to the beach every morning and taking a walk and having a coffee, looking at the ocean, and you know, living in a really nice place that was easily accessible to the beach, that kind of thing. And while my life has been absolutely fantastic, marvelous in Portugal since I've been here, and Ericeira was the landing place for me, I said, this is where I want to do that. After 3 years of living, you know, at 4.5 kilometers from the beach, all pretty much all downhill, and then so it's all uphill back. A walk to the beach is 40 minutes. It's not a little, you know, not just around the corner kind of a thing. Hello, and welcome to this very special episode of An Old Guy in Europe. In this episode, I share a feature Good Morning Portugal show dedicated to Movember, International Men's Health Month, from November of 2021, just 1 month after arriving in Portugal. I had the honor and pleasure of being a panel member for this discussion, and I hope my part in it will in some small way help to educate, inform, and support this important annual event.
Talking of which, James Holly is a psychotherapist, takes care of people's long-term mental health. I would like to think. What's your view on this, James?
So much. I did want to address part of this is the how do I want to put this? Men tend to not want to go very deep in their thinking around relationship. So this "how you doing, man" goes to "I'm fine." But if we go a little deeper and get vulnerable and transparent and honest, "I'm concerned about you, and I'm wondering if anything's going on that I might be able to help with."
Yeah.
That's an honest, vulnerable, transparent communication that makes it very difficult to go, "I'm fine." Because even in that statement, you're going to see it in that your friend's eyes that he's not fine, because he knows at that point, he knows he's lying to you because you've gotten deeper. You've asked a true question about his well-being. So, and that goes to so much historically, how we're trained as boys to not do that. Very little of it is actually our DNA. There's very few differences between males and females researched along the way. But where we become very, very different is in the training we get as we grow up. And boys are trained, we got to have it all together. We're not supposed to be weak. If we're sick, we're weak. If we don't have an answer, we're weak. There's all this stuff that puts us in what I call the man box, which leads to this lack of communication, this lack of vocabulary and language to use to support each other. So the big piece of it for me always is awareness, raising awareness and education around it, and doing it differently. And I think we're doing a much better job around that than historically. We're moving forward in terms of that it's okay to cry, it's okay to have feelings, it's okay to communicate feelings. It's getting better. Just south of Ericeira, about 30 kilometers or roughly 20 miles, is the Parque Natural de Sintra Cascais.
So this is one of the cases where you have something man-made that was basically, you know, created surrounding or around something that was already naturally existing.
And then I came on the idea of how we perceive information that has come up several times in different ways. And, we've talked about, boots on the ground. We've talked about, really doing your research. We've talked about, just going for it. Lots of different ways of behaving based on how we have taken in information. So I thought, well, that might be interesting, especially when it comes to making a move. And that applies to people who are making that move brand new, leaving the country of origin to a new country, or people within a country saying, okay, I've been here, now maybe I want to be there. So what would inform me, like what's the right answer? Well, that completes our special 25th episode of An Old Guy in Europe. Thanks for joining me. And if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you would like to get reminders every time a new episode comes out, please feel free to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. And ultimately, also share to help the channel so more people can see what's going on. In the meantime, thanks again for your support. It means the world to me. And I look forward to seeing you again next week for episode 26. This is James, an old guy in Europe, signing off and wishing you all love, joy, and peace always.